Carl, let me say something that might offend you. If you're broke, it's not because you don't have money. It's because you don't have leverage. Money doesn't create businesses. Leverage does. A $100 CEO is just called, and leverage comes from three things: skills, distribution, systems. If you have none of those, you stay broke. So let's build them step once. A 100,000 CEO is just called, stop trying to be an entrepreneur. This is the first mistake broke people make. This is the first mistake broke people want to start a business. I want passive income. I want freedom. You don't need freedom. A $100 CEO is just called, you need cash flow. Entrepreneurship is not step one. Skill acquisition is step one, because here's the brutal truth. The market does not pay you for your ideas. The market pays you for your utility. A $100 CEO is just called. So instead of asking, what business should I start? Ask, what problem can I solve that people already spend money on? That's the game. Step 2 and 8. A $100 CEO is just called, pick a pain that already exists. You do not invent demand. You attach yourself to existing demand. Here are industries where money already flows. A $100 CEO is just called marketing, sales, lead generation, content creation, paid ads, appointment setting, high, ticket closing, offer building, notice something. A $100 CEO is just called, all of them help businesses make more money. If you help someone make $10,000, getting paid more than $1 is easy. That's leverage. So your move is simple. At the $100 CEO, learn one high income skill that directly increases revenue for businesses. Not motivation coaching, not mindset mentoring, not dropshipping fantasies, revenue skills. A $100 CEO is just called, because revenue skills never go out of demand. Step 30 skill stacking strategy. Here's what financially intelligent people understand: income is proportional to value creation. A 100,000 CEO is just called, but value creation increases exponentially when you stack skills. Example, sales alone to good income. Copywriting alone to good income. Sales copywriting at dangerous income. Video editing alone to decent. A 100,000 CEO is just called editing, fluff, strategy, distribution, premium pricing. So instead of being average at 5 things, become excellent at 1 revenue skill and decent at 1 support skill. A $100 CEO is just called, that's enough to break 5K content cake per month. And you can do that from a laptop. Step 4, your first year is $100,000 about speed, not perfection. Broke people wait until they feel ready. A $100,000 CEO is just called, wealthy people move while uncomfortable. Your goal is not to build a brand. Your goal is to close 1 client. 1. A 100,000 CEO is just called, that changes your psychology, because once money hits your account from your own ability, you stop thinking like an employee. You start thinking like an operator, and operators win. Step 5E, a 100,000 CEO is just called, how to actually get that first client, no fluff. Here's the real strategy. Pick a niche. Example, real estate agents. Study their problem. Example, they struggle with consistent lead flow. Craft a simple offer. A 100,000 CEO is just called, I help real estate agents generate 15, 20 qualified leads per month using short form content funnels. Specific to vague, outreach aggressively. If you're broke, your capital is effort. Send 100 DMs per day. A 100,000 CEO is just called, send 30 emails per day. Send personalized Loom videos. Most people won't respond. That's normal. You don't need most people. You need one. Psychological shift. Stop thinking like a consumer. Consumers ask, what can I buy? Operators ask you, what can I build? A 100,000 CEO is just called, consumers look at price. Operators look at margin. Consumers want comfort. Operators want growth. If you stay in consumer mode, you stay broke. Switch identities immediately. A $100 CEO is just called, why most people fail Thal, and you won't, they overthink, wait, compare, quit early. Here's what actually works: speed, volume, iteration. You don't need the perfect offer. You need feedback. A $100 CEO, a 100,000 CEO is just called, and feedback comes from the market, not your imagination. So you launch, you adjust, you improve. That's business. The reality check, you are not going from broke to millionaire. You're going from a $100 CEO is just called, I broke that skilled, paid, systemized, scale to miss a step. You collapse. Follow the order, you rise. In the next part, a 100,000 CEO is just called, I'll break down exactly how to turn 1 client into predictable monthly income and how to structure your offer so clients don't leave. Because getting paid once is luck. Getting paid every month is strategy. A 100,000 CEO is just called, and strategy is what turns broke people into business owners. Turning 1 client into predictable income. Let's assume you got your first client. Most people celebrate too early. A 100,000 CEO is just called, 1 client doesn't make you a business owner. 1 client proves you're a 100,000 is just called capable. Now we turn capability into stability. Step, we need to stop selling services. Start selling outcomes. Amateurs sell tasks. Professionals sell results. If you say, I do video editing, you're a commodity. A $100,000 CEO is just called. It's just called. If you say, I help coaches generate 30 inbound leads per month using short form content systems, now you're valuable. People don't buy editing. They buy growth. They buy revenue. They buy certainty. A 100,000 CEO is just called. Your offer must answer one question. How does this make me more money? If it doesn't, you'll struggle. Step 2 in the Wonder de Ballad or Valsen or Belarsen transition. Here's simple math most people ignore. If you charge called $300 per client, you only need 17 clients to make $5 on a Lausen. That's stress. Instead, increase price, increase value, decrease volume. If you charge a fund $500 per client, you need 4 clients to hit 6,000 Lausen. At $100 CEO is just called. Which is easier to manage? Higher pricing attracts serious clients. Low pricing attracts chaos. Cheap clients complain more. Pay late. Expect more. Raise your price as soon as you get proof. Proof results. Step 3. A 100,000 CEO is just called. Structure your offer like a financial weapon. Strong offers have 4 elements: clear outcome, defined timeline, the specific deliverables, a risk reversal example. A 100,000 CEO is just called. Now, I help real estate agents generate 20 qualified leads in 30 days using a short form content funnel system. If we don't hit at least 15 leads, we work free until we do. And now that's powerful. A $100 CEO is just called specific, time bound, measurable. That removes uncertainty, and uncertainty kills sales. Step 4, a client retention, is where real money is made. Acquisition gets attention. Retention builds wealth. A 100,000 CEO is just called. If a client stays 6 months at $100 a month, that's $90,000 in from 1 client, 4 clients, 36 in the lower. Now you're thinking like an operator. So how do you increase retention? Simply communication. A 100,000 CEO is just called. Performance tracking, expectation management, send weekly updates, show metrics, be proactive. If they see growth, they stay. If they feel ignored, they leave. Step 5V, a 100,000 CEO is just called. Build a delivery system immediately. Right now, you're doing everything manually. That's fine, temporarily. But if your income depends only on your time, you built a job. So start documenting every step. A 100,000 CEO is just called. How you onboard, how you deliver, how you report results, turn into checklists. Why? Because systems create scale, and scale creates ownership. Financial intelligence. Most broke people miss revenue is V. A 100,000 CEO is just called Anity. Profit is sanity. Cash flow is survival. If you make 60,000 per month, but spend a 500, you're still stressed. Keep personal expenses low. Reinvest into. A 100,000 CEO is just called. With better tools, the education T contractor, C marketing, early stage operators reinvest aggressively. Comfort is the enemy. Step 6C, positioning yourself as authority. At this stage, you must build leverage. A 100,000 CEO is just called. Start posting content not to become famous, to become credible. Share a case studies, the lessons, mistakes, the results, the breakdowns. A win prospects see authority. Sales conversations get shorter. At the 100,000 CEO is just called. Attention reduces friction. Step 7, the identity shifts friction. Step 7, identity shift. This is critical. You are no longer trying something. You are a business. That means a 100,000 CEO is just called. You track revenue, you track cost, you track client lifetime value, you track conversion rates. Operators measure everything because what gets measured improves. Guessing is expensive. A 100,000 CEO is just called. Data is powerful, the transition moment. Add around 5K to 10K per month that you face a decision. Option, wanting to stay comfortable, work solo. Plateau, option 2 and higher. Delegate, build systems, scale. A 100,000 CEO is just called. Most people choose comfort. That's why most people stay small. But if you walk, a 100,000 CEO is just called. To go from income to ownership, you must stop being the worker and start becoming the architect. From operator to owner, right now, you're making money, maybe 5K, maybe 80K, maybe even 10K per month. A $100 CEO is just called. But here's the question that matters. If you stop working for 30 days, you don't own a business, you own a job with better branding. And that's fine temporarily. A 100,000 CEO. A 100,000 CEO is just called, but if you want freedom, wealth, and control, you must remove yourself from delivery. Step 1, document everything like you're selling the company tomorrow. This is where most people resist. It's called because documenting feels boring, but boring builds wealth. Open a document and write. A $100 CEO is just called. How leads come in, how sales calls are handled, or how clients are onboarded, how service are delivered, how results are tracked, how reporting is sent, turn every repeated action into a checklist. A 100,000 CEO is just called. Why? Because if it lives only in your head, it's not a business. It's a dependency, and dependency kills scalability. Step 20, hire before you feel ready. Here's the fear. If I hire someone at 100,000 CEO is just called, what if they mess up? What if profit decreases? Yes, profit will decrease at first. That's called in A $100 CEO is just called investment. Let's do simple math. You charge a client $4 and $500. You pay a contractor $500 to handle fulfillment. You keep $5 and $1,000. Now, instead of spending 40 hours delivering, you spend 40 hours selling. A $100 in CEO is just called. If you close just 2 more clients, now you're at $4, 500 revenue with less stress. That's leverage. Wealth is built through leverage, not effort. Step 30Z. A 100,000 CEO is just called. Protect your margins like your life depends on it. Here's a dangerous trap. Revenue increases, lifestyle increases, margins shrink, and suddenly you're working more with less peace. Set a rule. A $100 CEO is just called a minimum 50% gross margin. If you can't maintain margin, your pricing is wrong or your structure is inefficient. Operators think in percentages, employees think in salary. Step 40. A 100,000 CEO is just called stop competing on price, compete on certainty. The higher you scale, the more competition you see. Here's how amateurs respond. They lower price. That's a race to the bottom. Instead, increase certainty. Addy, a 100,000 CEO is just called a performance benchmarks, also transparent reporting, faster communication, a stronger onboarding, and clear KPIs. People don't pay more for tasks. They pay more for confidence. If you reduce uncertainty, you can raise price. And raising P, a 100,000 CEO is just called rice increases margin, margin increases stability, stability enables scale. Step 5, you build a sales engine, not random sales. If you rely only on manual DMs forever, you'll burn out. So at this stage, a $100 CEO is just called build predictable lead flow, options of paid ads, a content marketing, a referral systems, partnerships, but don't do all at once. Pick one channel, master it, scale it. Consistency beats chaos. A 100,000 CEO is just called, you want inbound leads because inbound leads close easier and easier sales means scalable revenue. Step 6A, upgrade your thinking at this level, your job changes. You are no longer editor, closer. Technician. A 100,000 CEO is just called, you are strategist, allocator, decision maker. You ask, where does capital go? Where does time go? Where does attention go? That's ownership thinking. And ownership thinking changes income ceilings. A $100 CEO is just called the emotional barrier most people hit. Here's what actually stops growth control issues. I can do it better. No one understands my vision. It's easier if I just do it. A $100 CEO is just called that mindset keeps you small. Delegation feels risky, but stagnation is riskier. You must accept your first hires won't be perfect. Your first systems won't be perfect. A $1,000 CEO. A 100,000 CEO is just called, but imperfect scale beats perfect limitation. The shift that changes everything when revenue becomes consistent and fulfillment runs without you. You unlock something powerful, time. A 100,000 CEO is just called, and time is the highest leverage asset in business because now you can build assets, which is part 4, because income is good, but ownership of assets is what creates real wealth. A 100,000 CEO is just called from income to ownership. At this point, you have skill, you have clients, you have systems, you have predictable revenue. Now, the real question becomes, are you building income or are you building assets? A 100,000 CEO is just called because they are not the same. Income pays bills. Assets create freedom. Step 1, team, stabilize body before you scale. Before you chase bigger numbers, ask, is revenue predictable? If your monthly income swings wildly, 100,000 CEO is just called. You don't scale, you stabilize. You need consistent client acquisition lead, clear retention systems, reliable profit margins, 3 6 months of cash reserves. Broke people chase growth. Operators secure foundations first. A 100,000 CEO is just called stability reduces stress. Reduce stress improves decision making. Better decisions increase wealth. Step 2, and I convert active income into leverage. Right now, your service business produces cash flow. A $100 CEO is just called, that's powerful. But service income is still linear. You must convert it into leverage. There are 4 ways to do that. A $100 CEO is just called build a team, create scalable offers, acquire equity, invest strategically. Let's break this down. Step 3, productize what already works. You've solved problems repeatedly. That means you have a system. The 100,000 CEO is just called turn that system into a course, a group program, a licensing model, a performance-based offer. Instead of one client to one payment, you move toward one system, 10 many payments example. A $100 CEO is just called. If your service makes businesses more leads, create a training program teaching businesses how to implement it. Now you have a 100,000 CEO is just called high ticket service, high cash flow, scalable product, margin expansion equals wealth acceleration. Step 4, you think like an investor, not just an operator. Operators build cash flow. A 100,000 CEO is just called investors build equity. Once your business generates excess profit, you allocate capital, not for lifestyle, for ownership. Examples of BB equity of 100 view CEO is just called tie in small businesses, revenue, share deals, acquire underperforming assets, invest in scalable ventures, Y. Because equity compounds, income feeds you, equity multiplies you. A 100,000 CEO is just called, and wealthy people understand compounding is the real game. Step 5, you build personal brand as strategic leverage. This is where attention becomes power. Start documenting. A 100,000 CEO is just called. Your process, slay your wins, fear wins, sell your failures, fear lessons, not for ego. For positioning, authority reduces acquisition cost. When people trust you before the sales call, closing becomes easy. A 100,000 CEO is just called. When closing becomes easy, scale becomes predictable. Attention is leverage. Leverage accelerates ownership. Step 60, separate lifestyle from net worth. This is where many fail. Income increases, ego increases. A 100,000 CEO is just called. Expenses increase, and suddenly they're earning more than ever, but still financially fragile. Rule: do not upgrade lifestyle until assets pay for it. Your business should buy your comfort, not your labor. A $100 CEO is just called. If your income disappears tomorrow and your lifestyle collapses, you are not wealthy. You are dependent. Ownership eliminates dependency. Step 7A, the final mental shift, broke mindset. How much can I make this month? A 100,000 CEO is just called. Owner mindset. How many assets can I control this decade? One thinks short-term survival. The other thinks long-term dominance. From here, your decisions change. You prioritize. A 100,000 CEO is just called. A margin, the equity, systems, a talent, a brand, and suddenly you're no longer trying to escape being broke. You're building financial infrastructure. A $100 CEO is just called. The full journey recap. You didn't jump from broke to millionaire. You moved strategically. A 100,000 CEO is just called. Unskilled, a skilled, paid, a systemized, scalable owner. Each phase builds the next. No shortcuts, no fantasy, just structure. A 100,000 CEO is just called. The hard truth: most people watching this will not execute. They will feel motivated, feel inspired, then do nothing and nothing changes. A 100,000 CEO is just called. But if you execute even 50% of this plan, your financial trajectory changes permanently. Because wealth is not luck, it's structure. And now you have the structure from broke to business owner. That's the exact plan.